For decades, it was a pilgrimage, a familiar, almost sacred journey woven into the fabric of everyday life. The hurried drop-off of a roll of film, tucked inside a small, often personalized envelope. The anxious, sometimes impatient wait, fueled by the mystery of what memories had been captured, what moments truly frozen in time. And then the triumphant reveal, the stack of freshly printed memories, crisp and tangible, ready to be sorted, shared, and carefully placed into albums. This ritual, this ingrained habit, was a cornerstone of how we documented our lives. It was a multi-billion-dollar industry built on anticipation and the physical manifestation of personal history. But then, almost imperceptibly, the pilgrimage stopped. The storefronts darkened, the kiosks vanished, and the once ubiquitous photo lab, with its promise of tangible memories, simply faded away. How did an entire industry, so deeply entrenched in our culture, disappear so silently? And what lessons can we learn from its gradual, quiet erosion? Before the silence, there was an empire. The golden age of film photography wasn't just about cameras. It was a vast, intricate ecosystem. Companies like Kodak, Fuji, and Agfa didn't just sell film. They represented a global infrastructure. Their products were everywhere, from amateur point-and-shoots to professional studios, capturing everything from birthday parties to historic events. The act of taking a picture was deliberate, constrained by a limited number of exposures per roll, lending each click a certain weight. You couldn't instantly review, couldn't delete a bad shot. This scarcity, paradoxically, made each successful print feel more valuable. Families gathered around photo albums, reliving vacations and milestones. These albums weren't just collections of images, they were tangible narratives, passed down through generations. This created a colossal demand for development services, a constant flow of film rolls needing chemical baths and precise printing. The industry wasn't just robust, it was foundational to how society remembered itself. At the heart of this empire lay the photo lab itself, a truly diverse entity. From the corner drugstore kiosk promising one-hour photo development to the dedicated, often locally owned photo shops boasting professional-grade services, these businesses were a constant presence. Supermarkets often had their own photo departments, leveraging convenience to attract customers. These weren't just places to drop off film, they were hubs of a specialized trade. Behind the counter, technicians, often unsung experts, managed complex chemical processes, calibrating machines and ensuring quality. They understood the nuances of film types, the subtle art of color correction. The business model was straightforward: sell film, process film, print photos. It was a reliable, high-volume operation, and for decades it seemed immutable. People needed prints, and these labs were the indispensable gatekeepers to those cherished physical memories. The sheer volume of film being developed globally was staggering, a testament to the essential role these labs played in the photographic life cycle. The first tremors arrived in the mid-1990s with the advent of consumer-grade digital cameras. Devices like the Kodak DC-25 or Sony Cybershot emerged, promising instant review and eliminating the need for film. But these early models were expensive, often clunky, and their image quality, by modern standards, was laughably low, often less than a megapixel. Files were stored on small proprietary memory cards, and transferring them to a computer could be an ordeal. Printing them required a dedicated photo printer, often slow and costly, or taking your memory card to a photo lab. Initially, many in the industry viewed digital cameras not as a threat, but as a niche curiosity or even a complementary service. Labs adapted, offering printing services from digital files, believing they could simply pivot their infrastructure. They saw it as another revenue stream, unaware they were welcoming the first crack in their foundation, a subtle shift that would eventually undermine the very need for their core service. The true game changer, the Trojan Horse that bypassed the entire film development ecosystem, wasn't a dedicated camera at all. It was the mobile phone. In 2000, the Sharp JSH-04 launched in Japan, the first commercially available phone with an integrated camera. Within a few years, camera phones became ubiquitous, spreading across the globe like wildfire. The quality was initially poor, often worse than early standalone digital cameras. But quality wasn't the point. Convenience was. Your camera was now always in your pocket, always on, always ready. You could capture a moment and instantly share it via MMS, then later through early social media platforms without ever transferring a file to a computer, let alone needing a physical print. This integration democratized photography in an unprecedented way. Everyone became a photographer, capturing countless moments without a second thought for film or development. The dedicated act of taking a picture with a camera began to wane, replaced by the casual, continuous capture of life through a smartphone lens. The need for a photo lab for millions simply evaporated overnight. With the camera phone came the revolution of instant digital sharing. Before, sharing meant showing a physical print, mailing a copy, or assembling an album. Now, with a few taps, a photo could be sent across continents. Early photo sharing sites like Flickr and PhotoBucket gained traction, followed rapidly by the explosion of social media platforms, MySpace, then Facebook, and eventually Instagram. These platforms transformed photography from a personal archival process into a social one. The primary purpose of many photos shifted from being printed memories to digital updates, shared experiences, and status indicators. The print became irrelevant for most casual photography. If a picture wasn't shared online, did it even truly happen? This new paradigm bypassed the photo lab entirely, not just for capture, but for distribution and exhibition. The need for physical prints as the primary means of sharing memories began to recede, replaced by an invisible, global network of digital images. The final nail in the coffin for the traditional print was the rise of cloud storage. Before, a lifetime of memories could fill shoeboxes, albums, and attic spaces. Now, services like Google Photos, Apple iCloud, and Dropbox offered seemingly infinite, inexpensive digital storage. Your entire photographic history could live online, accessible from any device, anywhere in the world. The fear of losing physical prints to fire or flood was replaced by the perceived permanence and redundancy of cloud backups. This shift fundamentally altered our relationship with photographic archives. Why print a photo if you could access it instantly, perfectly preserved, on your phone or computer? The shoebox full of memories moved into the digital ether. The ritual of flipping through physical pages gave way to swiping through digital galleries. The very concept of a photo collection transformed from a tangible object into a vast, invisible dataset. The photo lab, once the indispensable guardian of these physical memories, found its core utility rendered obsolete by this invisible digital revolution. As the digital tide rose, the photo lab industry fought a desperate, losing battle. Many attempted to pivot, transforming into digital printing services, offering photo books, personalized gifts, or transferring old VHS tapes and film negatives to digital formats. But these were often lower-margin services, unable to compensate for the catastrophic decline in film development and print orders. The once bustling counters grew quiet. One-hour labs, designed for volume, found themselves with dwindling traffic. Major retailers consolidated or closed their photo departments entirely. Thousands of specialized technicians lost their livelihoods. The empire didn't crumble in a single dramatic collapse. It simply withered, storefront by storefront, kiosk by kiosk. The familiar yellow and red logos that once dotted every town slowly vanished, leaving behind empty spaces and a quiet testament to a changing world. The convenience of digital, the instant gratification of sharing, had irrevocably altered consumer behavior, and the labs were simply unable to adapt to the speed and scale of that transformation. Yet, even in the digital age, a flicker of life remains. Against all odds, film photography has experienced a small, surprising resurgence. Not as a mainstream industry, but as a niche, artisanal pursuit. Young photographers, artists, and enthusiasts are rediscovering the tactile experience, the unique aesthetic, and the deliberate process of analog. They seek out the film look, a quality often imitated, but rarely replicated by digital filters. This has led to the emergence of specialized boutique photo labs. These aren't the high-volume operations of yesteryear. They cater to a discerning clientele, offering expert development for obscure film stocks, large-format printing, and meticulous archival services. This revival is a testament to the enduring appeal of the craft, a countercultural movement against the instant and the ephemeral. While a mere shadow of its former self, this specialized segment demonstrates that even industries declared dead can find new life, albeit in a completely reimagined form. The silent death of the photo lab offers a profound lesson, not just for the photography industry, but for any business operating in a rapidly changing world. This wasn't a sudden, cataclysmic event, like a meteorite strike. There was no single killer app that wiped out the photo lab overnight. Instead, it was a confluence of cumulative, seemingly minor shifts in consumer behavior, each eroding a small piece of the foundation. The gradual improvement of digital cameras, the ubiquitous camera phone, the frictionless sharing of social media, and the infinite storage of the cloud, each a grain of sand washed away by the tide. The industry struggled because it failed to recognize that its value wasn't just in processing film, but in fulfilling a deeply ingrained human desire for tangible memories, a desire that digital found new, often superior ways to satisfy. As we look around today, we can see similar forces at play in countless other sectors. Industries aren't always killed by a direct competitor. Sometimes they simply fade away as our habits evolve. The story of the photo lab reminds us that even the most cherished rituals can become obsolete, and even the largest empires can vanish, not with a bang, but with a quiet, imperceptible whisper. If you found this journey through a vanished industry insightful, remember to like this video and subscribe for more stories of business, innovation, and change.